we have before you tonight is the public hearing for the fee resolution for the barrier program or barricade program, whichever you prefer. As the council remembers, the city has several police barricades that we've had in our possession for several years. We obtained with a grant many years ago. We don't have occasion to use them very often, in fact, very seldom. One of the things that has been challenging is when the council approves a beer garden or any sort of activity that requires a barricade or a barrier. Usually within those resolutions there is a certain amount of closed space that must be maintained, and there are limited ingress and egress out of those spaces. So the idea came forward in order to get some standardization for these sorts of things. Would it be permissible to see if we could use those barricades that aren't being used or likely would not be used for those programs? Council liked the idea. Council essentially indicated, approved the program at committee to move ahead with allowing half of the barricades to be used for the program, keeping half in reserve if there is an incident that needs to be used, and if there is something that requires all the barricades be mobilized, then wherever they are, if they're being utilized for a beer garden or some sort of segregated activity, that the first and prioritized use would be for the police use. So with that, it became an issue as to what do we want to charge for that. And the fees that were discussed at committee and which the committee elected to move forward was to have a fee of $2 per barricade with a damage deposit, if you will, of $110 in case the barricades were damaged and we had to replace them. So Idaho Code states that if the council intends to implement a new fee or raise any fee by 5% or more, that a public hearing is required, even for a small fee like this. So the city clerk, we intended to have this before you 3 weeks ago. We sent the notice to the paper. For some reason, the two publications didn't occur. One occurred, one came too late. So we republished, and that's why we're here tonight. So the code requires a public hearing, and upon the closure of that public hearing, the council is free to approve the fee, modify it, or deny the fee. So I would ask that you have a public hearing.
Questions for Gary prior to opening a public hearing? Art?
Yeah, part of the discussion centered on getting all the parts of the code to agree about height standards. Has that been addressed within this resolution or elsewhere?
Yeah, it'll be addressed in the resolution when the council issues a resolution. This is for the program itself to allow the barricades even to be used. But as Rod indicated, I believe, at the last committee meeting, that resolutions will now reflect that the barricades will comply with the requirements of the resolution.
Other questions for Gary before I open up the public hearing?
I have one more question.
Okay, Kathy.
When I was reading it, we talked about the first year not being a fee. There was some conversation. I just wanted to be refreshed on that.
Yeah, we talked about that at committee, and committee gave direction that they wanted to start it immediately. So when we brought it to council, you recall we brought this issue to council to see if they even wanted to proceed with the program prior to looking at a fee. And at that time, the council's direction was to go ahead and implement the fee.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll go ahead and open up public hearing at 7:25. Anybody in favor or would like to speak, please come to the podium. State your name and address, even though we know who you are, Victoria.
Victoria Seaver, 121 North Lily, just so you don't get lonely. So I've heard this in more detail in earlier meetings. I think it's a great idea. You're taking something out of storage and putting it to good use for the uniformity and the ease for people to use it. I think a $2 fee and the deposit is nominal. And do charge it. Don't let that skate off, and go for it. It's a good thing to do.
Thank you, Victoria. Others would like to come up and speak in favor, please step forward at this time. Seeing none others, I would take any kind of comments, whether they're general or opposed. Please step forward. Seeing nobody else, I will close the public hearing for 726 for discussion with council.
Mr. Mayor,
John?
this has gone through the council as far as approving the loan. It's been talked about a number of times. A fee schedule has been arrived at. I wish it was a little higher myself, but still, I would say that we should accept this. I'd make a move that we should accept the barrier rental fee and the replacement barrier if lost or damaged fee.
I'd second that.
Okay, John made a motion and Jim seconded to approve the recommended fees for the barrier loaner program. Walter, I'll start with you.
Aye.
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 Okay,